Hello, welcome back. Nigel here with your Nigel's Modelling Bench, and we've got another Wingnut Wings Wednesday. So I know a lot of you look forward to this, so I think we'll keep them going. So if you remember the last one, we did our turn as a compressor, having a little say there. Remember the last one we did our turned aluminium effect on the panels, and they've all had their clear coat now. So I'm not sure whether I'm just going to leave them like they are because they have a sheen, which I think is correct. I think that one looks the best. I'm not so sure about this. I'm not so sure this one looks good, but I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to carry on, just keep going because it's just never ending, isn't it? Right, so go remember this. I'm seeing this model as kind of a training tool. It's going to teach me how to build a Wingnut Wings model, if you like. So so basically we got all this. So now we need to start thinking about some painting. But I've been looking at this because I'd forgotten which version I wanted to do. So I know I don't want to do A because I don't want the three guns on the front and I don't like the beige colour, so A's out. Then I'm looking in the back here, we've got B, option B, where's B? Okay, so there's option A, don't like that one with the three guns and everything. So we've got option B, I'm thinking did I want to do that one or not? Any reason I wouldn't want to do that one? Can't think of it. And then I looked here and we've got option C, and it has this big cross on the back, so I'm thinking yes, that's what I want. It's got the big Fokker E.IV 638 on there because I like to see a big Fokker. We all like to see a big Fokker, don't we? Well, that one's got it as well. But yeah, so basically I think it's going to be option C. And I was also looking here at the guns because if you're doing A, you have different guns. If you're doing B, C, D or E, you're doing this, but if you're doing B, you're using that, and if you're doing C, D or E, you're using the square gun sight, and if you're doing B, you're using the round gun sight. I've fitted the square gun sights, or rectangular, so basically that's what I've done. Now, I think I've dropped a bollock here, because I fitted all this up so I could paint it all together, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get those through that combing. So we'll have a look and see if I can actually get them through. Now I've got them, I did have them stuck on 2 cocktail sticks, as you can see, a very long time ago. So I'm going to take that one out of there, which is in there very tight. In fact, it's actually broken off. So there we go. So I'm going to see now if I can manipulate these guns into this combing. I bet I can get one in, but not the other. That is the right way up, isn't it? Yes. So that'll go in like that. I may have to split that bar at the back and then glue it back together. Yes, I got one in. I got 2 in. Bloody hell. I didn't think it would be that easy. God, and they look lovely. I've never built a Wingnut Wings kit before, and I'm just looking at this, and it's all so slim and fragile and everything. And then in the instructions, it's showing us as this piece going in. Now, how are those guns fitting in there? It looks like, let's pull this combing forward. It looks like that is slotting up in that gap behind the cooling jackets. That's what it looks like. Yeah, the ammo belts are lining up, so that's cool. And then that in turn will come back. I'm not sure how that's going to locate. Or does it go flush at the back? That goes flush on there. Okay. Blimey, this is fiddly. So that is going to go down onto there like so. Alright. And then that in turn is going to drop into there. That doesn't fit in between the fuselage halves. Oh no. There's no longitudinal positioning for this whatsoever, unless it's that crossbar there. So I guess the thing to do here is to dummy fit the cowling and let that determine the position of this. Yeah, no? What do you reckon, guys? There we are. So that's going to determine the position of that. Wow, everything's coming off of each other, isn't it? So I think we won't glue anything together here yet. I think we'll leave it until we fit it, and I'm not going to fit it until we've painted the fuselage. I don't think, anyway. So that's got to go down into there like that. There we go. Oh, it looks like there's holes for it to go into. Okay, so that's going to sit like that. And that's going to sit like that. Doesn't that look stunning? Wish it would stay on there. So that's going to go, and then that is going to fit over there like that, and then that rear one is going to fit in there like that. I have to draw that hole open again. So much Mr. Surfacer on here, it's untrue. So there we are. So obviously we're not going to fit all this now. We'll paint the fuselage first. But I'm amazed that I've got all that together. So I'm not going to glue any of this together at all. I'm going to leave it all unglued, because I think gluing it now is asking for trouble down the line when it comes to lining it all up. I think what I'd rather do is put some cement on there, have the cowling in place, and then just sort of tape it down. Of course, with all the clear coat we got on there, everything's safe to tape. So we can lift that out of there, leave those guns in there, and then that can come out of there. Wow, it's all so fragile. It's not like building a Hong Kong models. Yeah, I can assure you, it's all very, very flimsy. Okay, so certainly not for the newbie. Okay, so let's have a look at getting this fuselage painted. Now we've got this area around here has got to be leather. Okay, so obviously we'll do that afterwards. So what I want to do now is get all this masked up. We've already got the masking tape in there. I've actually unmasked that because I wasn't sure what was in there. But you can see we got all our wood and everything. It's looking good. So I'm going to get this masked up now, and I'll show you how I do it, and then we'll look at getting this fuselage painted. Okay, so I had a little play with cutting masking tape, and I didn't like it. I did it like a canopy, but I sort of just didn't like the edge. So I thought, I've got this, this is Micro Mask from Microset, or from Micro Products. And if I put a big blob on here, look, okay, put a nice big blob on there, then I can drag it around, and you can drag it over to the edge. And much like when, have you ever spilt water on a table and it won't run off the edge? It's sort of, and that's what this is doing, it sort of won't go over the edge. Don't be fooled by that line there. You can see there's a line there where I got a false cut on my masking tape. So I'm hoping it doesn't show through the paint. I could just pull this around, and I can pull it over to the edge, and it won't go over the edge. Just like so. And at the end of the day, if we do get any of the paint on the silver, we should be able to very gently rub it with a very fine sanding stick, and it'll go. Because we've got clear coat on here, we've got the ability to do that. Okay, that's what I'm doing, just dragging it around so that it stays on the edge. Just like that. And then I'm going to leave this for about an hour to dry, because it takes a long time to dry because I've got it so thick. But I've had to get it thick so I can pull it and drag it. If you try and put it on too thin, it just dries straight away. Alright, so there we go. So that's that. Wait for that to dry, and then I'll be back. Okay, while that's drying on both sides, it's going to take a while to dry. I just want to show you something. I think a lot of people are going to be asking the question. These are kit parts. They're not aftermarket guns. These are out of the box. Okay, and the cooling jackets on them are rolled photo etch. And as you can see in the manual, they tell you, where have I lost the page? They tell you to roll the photo etch to give a 3mm diameter. Now I have actually done a video on this previously, and here is the finished product. This is the early type. cooling jacket. Something of note, I just lost the bloody page again. Something of note here, I've just noticed, oh, come on. You can see on these early ones, you've got this rectangle of metal that you roll, and then all of a sudden that little nubbin appears on the top there, you can see it. So I would bear in mind that that needs to stay. Okay, you can see on here they've got the little, on the plastic part, they've got the little raised area there, so I would suggest that has to stay. Don't bend it up now, bend it up after it's rolled. And also you hear a lot of people talk about annealing. For stuff like this, don't anneal it. The reason you anneal is to take the springiness out of the brass. Here, if you take the springiness out of the brass, it'll just go all shapes. With it's quite rigid, it sort of wants to be cylindrical when you roll it. If you anneal it, it's probably gonna go like a trumpet. You can see here when you put this is so worth doing, when you put the plastic barrel next to that one, you know, you can see the difference. It's just, the difference is massive. So basically the way I do this, take the piece of brass off the fret, make sure you've got the right side out. Okay, now if you look at this, I don't know if you're going to see this on the camera, but this is the side it's been etched from, so that you've got sort of a very gentle radius on all the edges. If you look at this side, it's very, very sharp. Okay, now depending on which one you want, make sure you've got it. Make sure you've got the one you want, and make sure you've got them both, all three of them in this case, the same. Okay, so you want them all to be either sharp, so you've got the photo etch bit inside and sharp on the outside, which is how I think I've done this one. Let me just have a look. Yes, I have. So to get a nice sharp edge, do it with the photo etch facing up. Okay, then what I've got here is a sanding sponge. This is a simple soft sanding sponge. People will try and tell you to buy all this sort of stuff. You can buy these rolling tools. I've never used this. It has no use whatsoever. I use a piece of rod and a sanding sponge. If you're after something with a gentle curve in it, like a fender, use something harder. You know, use a sanding stick like this, because if you use a sanding stick like this, what will happen is you put this down, okay, you get your rod and you roll your rod over it. Okay, I'm going to try and keep it straight, and you will see that I can only go so far. I can't get it to go right over, and also make sure you go right off the ends. Now that has started to go sort of with a twist in it, so what I'm going to do is straighten it up. Okay. Okay, you can see that because it's hard, I cannot get it to go right over. I want to make a tube. I can't get it to go over. You can see that's the best I can get. So I've got a gap there, which is like 2 millimeters wide. So if I use the softer sanding sponge, in fact what I'm going to do is go to this one here, the white one. This is the 4000 grit in the Infinity range. This is slightly harder than the rest of them. If I go to that one, I can roll. As you can see, I can keep going. Make sure you do this. You don't want to sort of just go to the end and then to the end, because what you'll end up with is a section where you've got straight ends. You can see here that it's nearly joining. You've got a very slight gap. So I'm just going to put that in there. Press a little bit harder. It doesn't matter if it overlaps. Okay, as you can see now, we've got an overlap. So if I just put the tube in, the bar in there, and just pull it apart, I can probably get them to butt up against each other, just like so. Okay, so there you can see they're butted up against each other. So now you can super glue them, or you can solder them. This one's been soldered. I've done videos on that as well. Okay, you can see the solder on there. And then once it's all been soldered, just take a sanding stick and just sand away until you see the brass come through, and you will have a beautifully built cooling jacket for your gun, just like the ones I've got on there. Alright, so that's just a little something I thought I'd show you, in case you're wondering if you are because there's a couple of people out there who've been messaging me and you've been telling me that, you know, these videos have made you pick up a Wingnut Wings kit. So I know Steve is one of them. I'm not sure if he was building his before, but I think it's got him going on Wingnut Wings. So if the prices go up on eBay, I'm really sorry, it's my fault. But there we go. And then once we've done all that, we can just grab a little pair of tweezers and just fold that little piece up on the end. You can see there, and you can see there that basically what's happened, it's just started to come apart. So what I'm going to do is take my sponge again, put the rod in, and just gently, what I'm doing, I'm not even turning the rod, you can see I'm not turning the rod, I'm just allowing it to roll around. The object here is to get them to be butted up against each other and then that'll be easy to solder. Okay. So there we are. Yep, it still needs to go a bit tighter. It's better to have it too tight than too loose, because then it'll go like, it'll sort of make a loop like that, and then you can pull it apart and ding, and it will stay together because it's sprung together. So I'm going to roll it properly this time. See if I can get it to overlap. It doesn't seem to want to go on this side, so what I'm going to have to do is push tighter on this side, roll that side more than that side. There we go, we've got proper big overlap on there now. So I should be able to put that rod in there. And again, I've got a gap. So you can see what we'll do there, we'll solder one end and then roll it again and just get that end to go together. But if I want to go together now, it's this end, so I'll push the bar over and that'll make that end close up. And you can see there we've got, you can't even see the join where they're butted up together. So what we'll do then is hold that on something, hold it on something like that and solder it. Okay, so that's how it's done. Right, if you want to see the soldering, I've done a few videos on soldering, so go back and look at them rather than have me get all my gear out now and do it again. Right, see you in a second. A little bit of a tutorial for you there on the brass. So looking through the manual here, we've got this this framework going in the cowling. It's very, very flimsy, you can see it there. That's parts G13, B9 and B12 because I'm doing the longer nose version. The early one, not the longer, it's a different cowl. The earlier one are parts H7 and H8 for the framework. But they're basically going to go in there and they are going to fit into holes in here. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. And you can see, when you look inside, you can see the frame in there. So we're going to paint that, make sure the seams are gone and everything. And they're suggesting it's painted in colour F, which is interior grey green XF76. So that's the light green colour we've got here. So that's what colour I'm going to do that. XF76 is very much like my own colour, but also I believe, yeah, this is grey green IJN. So we have here, we have LP33, which is the same colour. So we'll use LP33 and that will save us having to use a primer because LP paints can go straight on plastic and that means less coats of paint, which keeps all this looking better. Now this part here actually broke. It's not like me to criticise Wingnut Wings, but I'm going to criticise Wingnut Wings. The sprue gates on these parts are massive. I should have shown you before I cut them off. If I could just show you here, here's the sprue that they came off of in the bin, and you can see these sprue gates, look at them, like 3mm wide. These are even wider, look, they're huge. So you've got to be really careful cutting them off, and as I cut them, one of them snapped. So it's probably broken before, to be fair. So yeah, there we go. So, alright. So that's just pushed in there quite hard. So they're all ready, and I need to make sure that this is all cleaned up and all the seams are gone. So I'm going to use my 10 times magnifier. Yep, I've done all those seams. So that's all done a little bit. I just want to do a bit more. My sponge is falling apart. Okay. So there we are. Right. Ready to get that all painted and see how it looks. Okay, remember which one of these was broken now. But we'll get those held up. We'll put we got our little tool here, so we can put our little tool there that's going to hold that one. So we'll grab our little cardboard stand, and then we've got these little clamps here, and we can hold those little pins there which are going into the cowling and will be hidden, so that one can go there. As you can see, this is all so bloody flimsy, isn't it? It's amazing. They just look, if you haven't ever seen a Wingnut Wings model built up, go to a show to see one, because they just look stunning. There's no other word for it. And you can see how this is all dried now and shrunk back. Okay, so we'll let that dry some more, and then we'll get some masking tape over the other bits, and then we can look at getting our fuselage sprayed. I also want to check, in fact I'm going to do it now on camera, live, for you guys. This is the Modeller's World model degreaser that Annie kindly sent me. I just want to do a test. In fact, I'm going to not do my fatal mistake. I'm going to use a brand new cotton bud. There we go, we got some of that on there. I just want to see, where can I do it where I can easily sand it. I just want to see if we can put this over Mr. Surfacer. It looks like it might be safe. Quick wipe will be okay. Okay, so we can give that a degrease, because I mean this has been handled like mad. You can see it's taking off that overspray of the silver there. That's the Mr. Hobby metal colour, aluminium 202, I think it is, 218. And yeah, that is not very hard wearing at all, hence me putting the clear coats on there. So that's all nice and tough now, I can rub that. So there we go, right. So we know that's going to work. So we can degrease our fuselage and get it painted in, I think it's going to be XF22. What colour was it they said for version C? Oh, loads of colours in here. So they're suggesting here K or G. I wonder why. Do they talk about it somewhere else? K or G? I can see no talk of why it would be K or G. K is Fokker Grey, which is XF22, and G is Fokker Beige, which is XF60. XF22 is here, and XF60 is here. Well, we could put that away straight away. It's going to be that colour. There we go. So I don't want to do a beige. Oh no. Right. See you in a minute. Back next day. So we've got all the green parts painted. That was done with the LP 33, was it? I think it was 33. So we've got the cowl there ready, and that's all ready to go inside. So all these bits and pieces. Got the undercarriage done with the same. This is the same as the XF76. So if you've got the LP range, then it's better to use that because it's a lacquer paint and it goes directly on plastic, no primer required. So therefore you get a thinner coat, leaving you more chance to expose all your lovely detail. And also, because of the version I'm doing, we've got decals to go onto the wheels. They're over here in my pot of bits. Come here, because I want to show you something. Come here, please. God dear. so I can fit these decals while they're on these spikes, I've punched, using a hole punch, I've punched the centres out so I can basically just place those on. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll probably cut the paper so I can slide the paper off. Or what I might even do is when I do them, is get a little piece of plastic card or something and slide them across so it's held on two pieces, then it come in from either side and then pull the paper out. But I'll show you that when we get there. I've painted these with LP39. It's called Racing White. It's an off-white colour and it's lovely. And I've done the rudder and fin the same because we've got some crosses to go on there. Another thing is, of course, it's gloss, so it's better for the decals to go down to. We've got the fuselage all masked up now. I did notice this ring here that goes around the fuel drain that had a seam line running through it, so I've put some black super glue in there, so we'll get that sanded out and get rid of that seam in there. So I'm ready now to start getting the fuselage painted. I've given it a degrease. I'll give it another degrease before I paint it because we've still got these bits on here, and yeah, we'll get a coat of paint on there. Finally, we're starting to see this thing come together. I got to be honest, I'm getting a bit nervous about the rigging, but we shall see. We'll see how we get on with it. Right, I'll see you in a minute. I'm going to get that sanded out, and then I'm going to get this painted with XF22. So I'll see you when I'm back. And so we have our fuselage painted, as you can see, XF22 RLM02 grey. So that's apparently the right colour for a Fokker. And we've also done the wheel hubs as well. So now I want to look at getting these decals done. So I've got a piece of decal paper spare. I'm going to do the fin flashes first, or the fin crosses should I say. So got some warm water over here in a pot. So we'll take our decal in the water, shake it off, and I need something to put it on, because this green you can see here is actually a cardboard mat. So we go, we'll put it on there, and we'll do the other side as well. Okay, so that one can, this water is just warm. We'll get those two out of the way over there, and we'll get this fin done. Now I'm looking at this, I can hold it on the bottom. I don't want to put a clamp on it because it was only painted sort of 18 hours ago, so the paint, it will probably mark the paint if I put a clamp on it. The bottom of the finner, I guess you call it, is a fin on a rudder, isn't it? That's got to be painted green by the look of it. So if we look there, so I suppose it doesn't really matter if it does mark it, but we shall see. Tell you what, we'll put this clamp here on there. If it does mark it, hey, it's all got to be weathered anyway. You can see we've got this sort of blotchiness on here, and I think this is oil staining, and apparently it's on the inside, so it needs to go on, according to Ray's book, it looks like the staining is on the inside, so we need to do the decals and everything on the fuselage first and then do the staining. You can see it here. It's sort of staining all over it, and you can see it is actually on the decals as well, and on the wing root there. So yeah, lots of pictures to look at. So anyway, we'll get this rudder on. Now, in my experience with Wingnut Wings decals, I did some testing a while ago. When I say a while ago, I mean like a couple of years ago. I'm just going to get that, some more water on there, some more on there. I found that if I used a micro set, they sort of just stuck down, so I'm not going to use micro set on these, particularly because they're gloss and it's a fairly flat surface, so we don't really need it. I'll probably put some on afterwards. So there we go, we can slide this one into position now. So that's going to go like that sort of thing. So if we just, oops, we just slide the paper out, and then we should be able to move this one around like so. So they give you in this kit, they give you the option of having a white decal with the cross on it, or you can paint the fin rudder, whatever you want to call it. You can paint it white and then put this this cross on. Doing decals on camera is always a gamble. For some reason it doesn't want to straighten out. Get some more water in there. You can see how these, even with no setting solutions, they just stick. They just go down like there's glue on there. It's absolutely incredible how they go down. So we've got that little cutout there in that bottom corner, and we've got the edge there, so we want to just yeah, they're strange, these decals. They're cartograph, but they don't seem to go down. But like when, I mean, I always find, I don't know if they use different formulas or whatever, I don't know, but I always find Airfix cartograph decals to be the best decals on the planet. I'm looking at these cutouts. We've got a cutout there and we've got a cutout there that we can see, there and there. But it doesn't seem to be, they've obviously given you extra to trim off, because that line there is parallel and the star, the cross has got to sit parallel to that line, so we're obviously going to be trimming those edges off. This back end needs to come up a bit still. There we go. So we can see we've got that mark across there where the rib is inside the fin. So now I'm going to take a brand new clean cotton bud and just gently roll out the bubbles. As I say, with no solutions, they do go down very nicely from my experience. What I've done, I've gone for having it, oh, it's, no, it hasn't. I've gone for having it parallel to that rib there. It has, it's moved. Bloody hell. Let's see how it looks when it's down. Yeah, it's moved. No, it's not, it's fine, it's parallel. I'm just going to take this clamp off of here so I can get to the bottom. You can see it has marked the paint already. I've got a bit of white showing there, so we can just put a little bit of black paint in there just to cover that up. We'll be sealing this in with clear anyway. So I'm just looking at that. Yeah, you can see that line across there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a line across there where the rib is inside. It's moulded on. So there we go. Just push that down. Push that bottom around the edge. Make sure it goes down. And then I'm going to grab some micro set. Put that over the top. Now, not a lot of people do this, but if you look at the bottle, if you read the instructions, they tell you to put micro set down first, and then once the decal's down, they tell you to put more micro set over the top, which is interesting. So that's what I'm doing, and we'll get some underneath it there, and there, and then we'll get some micro sole on the top. So that's gone down beautifully. I'm not going to risk moving the whole thing just to cover up that little bit of white that's exposed there. What we'll do is we'll just put a little touch of black paint in there, that'll be fine. Okay, so we can just leave that to dry. I shouldn't have put that one in the water, should I? Because we're not ready for it yet. So there we go. Right. So I'm going to look at these wheel hubs. So what I'm going to do is put one in the water, just like so, with this fin. roll it down some more. As you can see, it's gone down beautifully. You can even see the flecks of dust I've managed to get in the paint. So there we go. I think we'll leave that to dry for a few minutes and then we'll put the other one after we've done one of these hubs. So is that decal ready to slide yet? Nope. So we'll leave that a while. I think I'm just going to get some microsol. Just brush that over the top. It's starting to wrinkle up. I may regret doing this. It's really, really wrinkling up. Look at that. Oh dear. So, I think we've just learned a lesson, guys. Don't use microsol on Wingnut Wings decals. Now normally I'd expect them to wrinkle up, but they wouldn't wrinkle up that coarsely, I think is the word I'm looking for. They normally just wrinkle up and then go back down, but these actually wrinkled up like there was air under them. This, sorry, not these, this. Oh dear. Okay, so as I say, this model was all about learning, and I've now learned not to use setting solutions with Wingnut Wings decals. I'm going to see if I can get this to lift because it's got a big wrinkle across there. It's got a wrinkle in that corner as well. I'm going to turn the camera off and see if I can get this sorted out. Back in a sec. Well, that was a miracle. You can see how that's gone down. We've got spare decals on this sheet. As I say, we've got the fin with the white background. Once I've got both of these on, what I might do is get a piece of painted plastic and we'll do an experiment and we'll see what not to do with these decals and we'll see how much of a mess we can make. But yeah, that was very lucky. I don't know if you saw that, but when I put the microsol on, it just all wrinkled up. Now normally they wrinkle up like a wrinkle finish on paint, but this actually wrinkled up like I just put it down and it had big creases in it, so that was scary. We've got a tiny little tear just there in the root, which is hardly noticeable, and there was a crease there which is still evident, but I can only see it if I hold it in the light, so once it's had a flat coat on it you won't see it. Phew, that was lucky. Right, so I was thinking I'm going to have to cut the cross out of one of the white background ones, so we'll let that go off a bit and then we'll do the other one. This one here, obviously I'm not going to put any setting solution down, so what I intend to do here is slide this half onto there, okay, and then pick this up together and put the decal down like that. Well, that worked. Blimey, something's gone right today. So now I can take this off of here and I've got it on this spike and I can hold it. Okay, it looks like the decal is slightly too small, so maybe we'll have to paint the edges. So just roll the water out. Whilst keeping it central, it's easier said than done. Oh, blimey. This is not easy. Maybe better to paint these actually. Got some raised detail in the middle of the hub there that's got to go down over. Push it down hard over that. I'm tempted to take it off this spike. Oops, I did not want to do that. Where did it go? It's on my arm. There we go, got it. What I want to do is hold it on the white bits and just roll the centre. Just try and pull that over that way a bit. As you can see, we're slightly off, but I think we're going to have to paint the edges anyway because it looks like the black paint, yeah, there's a photograph of the actual aircraft there. The black paint does go right out to the edge, so we'll have to mask that up and just spray it in. That's okay, that's no problem. What I'm going to do is brush some microset on this, not salt. When I put microset on the other one, it was okay, wasn't it? Just get some microset and then that can capillary underneath. And help it to go down on that detail in the centre. Let's get a harder cotton bud. Here we are. So there we go, there's our wheel centre gone down. We've got the tyres in there ready to go as well. So we'll get the other ones done and then we'll come back, and I think I might do an experiment on camera and then we'll call it a day for this one. Put that back on there. I'll get the others done and then I'll come back. I'm not going to put any micro solder there. In fact, I may as well put the lid back on because it's not good stuff, is it? Right, see you in a minute. Alright, so they've all gone down lovely. Okay, all nicely done. And yeah, so what I've done with them is put them down with no microset, put microset on afterwards, rolled them down with a cotton bud, nice and tight, and they've gone down beautifully. We'll see how they settle on those wheels. If not, we'll just remove them and paint the detail on. So these are the decals for the fin that I'm not using. So we'll have a little experiment. So I'm going to put both of these in the water. The water's not quite as warm as it was now. It doesn't really matter when it's on a flat surface. The reason you warm decals up is to soften them. It makes them pull down better and go around compound curves and stuff easier. Now I know this is matte paint on here, but I'm not worried about that. We're not worried about how well they go down to the finish. It's how they react to the setting solution. So I've got the micro set here and the micro sole, and I've also got here, I've got the Mr. Hobby ones, which I've only just thought of. We can try. Now this one, this is the white one. This needs a good shake, and I think this one is first apply, quick drop to the area the locals supposed to do that. I think you put this one down first and that one down second. So we'll see how that's these two, sorry. Okay, so we'll see how they respond. Now, as I say, in my experience from memory, if you put microset down, oh blimey, if you put microset down first, they tend to just stick like the proverbial to a blanket, and then you can't position them. So that's what I'm going to try here, and then we're going to put some microsol down on top and see what happens. But I seem to remember in my memory somewhere someone saying don't ever use setting solutions with Wingnut wing decals. I'll have to look it up. I expect it says it in Ray's, one of Ray's fantastic publications somewhere. I'm going to turn the camera off while these soften up. Okay, I've brought a third one into the equation. this one here, this stuff's evil. It destroys paint. Got to be really careful, but we'll see what it does to these decals. So good little test for us all to experiment with. So if we start on the left and we do the mark fits first, so it tells you to put the mark fit super strong down first, and then lay the decal down over the top, just like so. Position it, so we'll get it square with that line of rivets there. Okay, what does it say then? Does it tell us to roll it out? Apply this to the roller to remove the decal position with a wet finger. Remove excess water with a soft cloth or cotton swab. Apply this product again over the top. So cotton bud, let's get a new cotton bud. So we can roll the decal out. Just rolling the excess moisture out. And we can see that it's gone down beautifully. Interestingly, I think this is Mr. Surfacer on here. The setting solution is not bothering the paint. I've done a video a long while back if you want to go back and have a look. This is actually an Airfix Hellcat wing, so it's got this very grainy sort of surface to it, which is really unfortunate because it's probably one of the only aircraft in World War II that was painted with gloss paint, and they decided to mould it with a grainy finish. Well done, Airfix. So that's gone down, as you can see, that has really gone down beautifully, and it's pulled down no problem at all. Now they're telling us to put some more over the top. Okay, so we'll brush some over the top, just like so, as they instructed. And there we are, that's that one done. Right, so it does say, apply this product again over the decal, then use a soft cloth to help conform the decal to the surface. So we'll do it as per the instructions. So we're using you can see it wrinkling up, but nothing like it did with Microsol. Yeah, it's wrinkling it up, it's turning it into mush. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's... Now it appeared to go down nicely at first. I'll have to do another test on another day. But it did appear to work very nicely with getting it to go down, and I could also lay it around. Okay, so that's that one done. So the Mr. Mark Softer Neo, or Setter Neo, it's the same instructions on both of these. You've got the softer and the setter. But we're going to put this one down first because this is like micro set. So we'll put a drop of this one down first, okay? And then we'll grab our decal, slide it into position. And then using a wet finger you should be able to position the decal, and we can slide it around, as you can see, just like so. Okay, so that's gone down like that. What does it say then? Apply it additionally over the decal if necessary. Remove any excess liquor and stick down fast. So I'm just going to roll this out to get rid of any excess. Just like so. And that's gone down very nicely indeed. And then I think what I've seen people do with this stuff, I don't generally use it a lot, is use the softer over the top. Okay, so just put that on there and just leave it and see what happens. It doesn't seem to be doing anything, to be honest. You can see here, this one has really wrinkled up. It's destroyed it. Okay, it's pulled down nicely. If we were putting a clear coat over the top, it would be absolutely fine. But it has actually just, it's almost like painted on. It looks very nice indeed. So yeah, if you're going to be putting a flat coat over the top, and you've got a troublesome area, you know, with lots of ribs or something, I guess this would work really well. My only worry is if you did have ribs and you pushed it down, it would just literally disintegrate, because it seems to have like turned it into paint almost. Now with this one, we could just roll this one out again. And yeah, I mean, that seems to be the ultimate solution is these two for Wingnut Wings decals, because that's gone down really nice. Right, let's try the micro set now. So we'll put some micro set down here. Now, of course, what's helping here is not having a high gloss finish. That allows you to slide the decal around a bit easier. But, put that way around. As you can see, I'm able to slide it around. So, okay, maybe I was wrong. It does happen from time to time, guys, I know. You find that hard to believe. But, so we put the micro set down, and using it as instructed, we're going to roll out the excess. As you can see, that's gone down lovely. I've just noticed in this one there's a wrinkle there, so there we are. So that's gone down beautifully on there. You can see it's already pulling down into the rivets. And it's pulling down lovely. And then, as instructed, we're going to put some more micro set over the top. Okay, and then what we're going to look at the instructions on sole, because I'm sure it says on the sole what you do is you brush it on. So we'll put the lid back on the set. I'm sure it says on the sole you brush it on using a soft brush, gently apply microsol onto the decal. Be careful not to move the decal during application. Do not touch decal after applying microsol, as the decal is now soft and can easily be distorted. Okay, so we've got that down with the micro set. It's gone down lovely. I was able to move it around, but that could be because we were on a flat surface. But it has gone down lovely on flat paint. We didn't need to have a gloss surface. There we go, that's lovely. Okay, so now I'm going to brush microsol over the top and see what happens. Just use it as instructed, brush it on, and then don't touch it. And we'll see what happens. And straight away, we can see some big wrinkles appearing. You can see all around the edge. Around the edge here, it's starting to wrinkle up. The trouble is, it's like when this wrinkled up, it's that little, like I said, crinkle cut paint or crinkle finish paint. But you can see here around the middle of the cross, see how it's got big creases in it, and I don't think they're going to go out. So what we'll do is just leave it as instructed, just leave it to dry, and see what it looks like in a minute. All right, about 5 minutes has passed, and as you can see, this decal has dried out and it's got creases all over it. So set and sole, no, do not use set and sole on Wingnut Wings decals. Now this one has gone down beautifully. Okay, you can see it's still got the nice glossy finish on it. It's pulled down pretty well into the rivets, but without a doubt this is the one. This has really gone down beautifully, and it's lovely. Now, what I've decided to do is do a fourth one. On the back here, we've got some gloss paint. We've still got this Airfix grainy plastic, and you can really see it under the gloss paint. So what I'm going to do, you've got all this raised detail in the wheel well. I'm going to put the decal down on there. I'm going to put it on some Mark Fit Super Strong, but I'm not going to put it on top. I'm only going to put it underneath, because it was when I put it on top that it really played up. When it was underneath, it was absolutely fine. What's interesting as well, this is LP paint, and it's not attacking it. It does attack some paints. You need to be very careful with Mark Fit Super Strong. So we're just going to place that down like that, and then use a soft cotton bud. Can I position it still? Yeah, I can still move it around. Look, it's not sticking down like it does with the set. So I can position that down, and I can make it go down into all the nooks and crannies. Now this is a real proper brutal test for any setting solution. All this raised detail here. And I'll be surprised if it works, but the object of the exercise is not to test. Remember, we're not trying to test decal setting solutions, we're trying to test what works with Wingnut Wings decals. And as we can see, unbelievably, the set and sole is not a good solution. Okay, so that is kind of gone down. We've still got some areas that have got air under them. So what I'm going to do is what I said I wasn't going to do. I'm going to put some Mark Fit Super Strong over the top. Let's see what happens. We'll see if it actually pulls down over all that ribbing. You can see it's starting to go down. So give that 5 minutes and I'll be back. Alright, so as you can see, it's really not working that well. As it dries out, it may well pull down. We'll come and have a look in a minute, but you can see the whole shape of the decal is distorted. You can see what it's doing to it. Like I said earlier, it's just turned it into mush. So I'm able to roll it around without it getting stuck in the cotton bud or anything, but the cotton bud has had it. Let's get another one. You can see it is going down. It may well pull down as it dries out, but you can see that it's incredible. It's incredible. Something I want to try. Remember I used the micro set and sole on this one, got the wrinkles on the surface. I'm wondering if I put this over the top. What will happen? It doesn't have it underneath, but it only has it on top. And as instructed by Tamiya, they tell you to roll it on after you've fitted this stuff, after you've applied. And it seems to work really, really well. Look at that. Yeah, it's certainly worth the gamble, especially if you put it on over matte paint. I'm just going to wet the cotton bud with water and just remove the excess, sort of neutralise it as it were. And it's got rid of that wrinkling, and it's also pulled it down better into the surface. So this stuff works really well. I think it's a bit of a gamble, but I'm going to try a drop on these wheels. Let's see what happens. I may regret this. I'm just going to put a little drop on there just to see what happens. Do the other one as well, because if I've got to paint one, I'm going to paint both. Okay. So what I'm trying to achieve here, I'm trying to get it to go down really well into those details around the centre. Just push that down. And it would appear that Tamiya LP paint is resistant to the Mark Fit Super Strong as well, so that's good to know. I think Mr. Hobby, it's like a thinner, it just takes it off. So we'll leave those for a minute, we'll come back and see how they look when they're dry. But there we go. Okay, so this one's been a bit of a disaster. It has gone down. As you can see, it's gone on the detail, but it's just distorted it, and it's just a mess. The cross isn't even anymore. It's a mess. So no go there. Here, the one with the Mark Fit underneath is certainly gone down better than any of the others, and you can see it's even got a sort of matte finish on it. This one is your safest bet. That's with the Mr. Mark softer and setter. That's your safest bet. And then this one here, we did the micro set, micro sole left wrinkles, went over with the Mark Fit Super Strong, and it took the wrinkles out. So if you get a decal down and it's got wrinkles in it, that stuff will take them out. And they tell you, like with the micro sole, they tell you not to touch it. With this one, they tell you to roll it down, so you can actually roll out the wrinkles once you've put it on. So in fact, we've got a wrinkle. I don't know if you can see it. There is a little crease just there. I don't know if you can see that. It's just there. I'm wondering if I put this on again, will it take that out? And the answer is kind of. Yeah, you can see what's happened here. I've rolled it and it's distorted the edge. So you need to be very, very careful with this stuff. This stuff is turning the decal into mush. You can see I've managed to get the wrinkle out, but I've actually pushed the edge of the decal out of shape. This is what's happened here. It's all gone out of shape because it's just turned it into mush. So there we are. Right. That's it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. That was just a little experiment to see how the decals reacted to the different setting solutions. So yeah, good. I did actually put some of the Mark Fit Super Strong on here, and it has kind of bubbled up. So safest way if you must use setting solutions is the Mr. Mark Setter and Softer. Easy for you to say. So there we go. Right. Let's have a look. I think I'm going to call this a day now on this video, but let's just have a look if there's anything else we can look at. Okay, so moving on. Right, ready to get the wings primed and everything now, and the tail plane. So I've drilled the holes 0.3 for the rigging, so I've drilled them perfectly straight. So that's all good. We've got a bit of cleanup to do on that forward edge, I think, on leading edge. We've got the tail plane all ready to go. Before we do any painting on this, it's got these two tabs that slot into the back of the fuselage. I've had to thin them out a bit to get them to go in. So we'll make sure that we get them covered up when we paint. Actually, we're going to do that now while I think of it, because you start getting paint on things with Wingnut Wings and they don't go together. Hence why the wing tabs are masked. And I was reminded of this when I started looking at the lovely book from Windsock. Albatross Publications, Wingsock, the name of the Ray's book anyway, the one that I showed you last week. Yeah, he shows in there that he actually does cover the tabs. So that's that done. Right, so now we can hold that in there. So that's ready for paint. I have nothing but bad luck. Excuse me. Okay, as I was saying, nothing but bad luck. I was masking the fuselage to do the leather and literally touched the paint and it scratched off. And I think it's because of all this bloody creams I'm using for the psoriasis. So I got grease on there. Even though I degreased it, it's still, the trouble is this is the problem with XF paint, the XF22 rather than the LP. It's not that tough. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. If it wasn't for that aluminium on the front, I would just strip it and start again. But I don't want to redo that aluminium again. So I've got all the wings degreased and everything now. I'm just going to hold them with these tabs and not touch anything. The tail plane's all degreased. So I'm going to get them primered. I'm going to get a primer on the... I found this rigging in my my bits and pieces. This is the Infini medium 1/32 scale aero black rigging. It's basically easy line, I think. Yeah, they do the... I've got all three of them. They do the medium, the fine and the super fine. So I'm going to use the medium and I'm going to follow Ray's book. Ray sent me this book, if you remember I showed you this last week, and he does a complete build series on this, on the E3, which is potentially the same aircraft. So yeah, it'd be nice to basically get it done to the same as he's done. These Bob's buckles I actually make my own. I twist them up out of wire, so we're going to use some of them in there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So you can see here he's done the weathering on the fuselage as well, so I need to get that done. That's interesting. He's done that circle there leather as well, so I'll have to have a look at that. So yeah, but basically we're going to get some priming done, and I'm going to call it a day for this video because it's been going on and on and on. So I will see you next week for Wingnut Wings. Was it 10 next week, isn't it? I think, or 11. I think this is 10, isn't it? So yeah, Wingnut Wings 10 is this week, Wingnut Wings 11 next week. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is get a clear coat on this fuselage so that the paint's good and tough. Get the wings and the tail plane primed. That's what I was looking for. Primed so the paint sticks better. I can't believe they haven't done a RLM grey in LP. I find that hard to believe. I've been looking through all the numbers and I can't see it anywhere. So weird. I don't know why they haven't done this colour in LP. It would be great if they did, because LP straight on plastic without any primers or anything, and it's such a hot paint, it just goes down, bang. It's the same with the outdoor paints. It just goes down, sticks like poo to a blanket, and brilliant. So I'm going to get these primed, and then I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or anything, pop them down below, and I will see you all soon. Bye for now.